Let me tell you something, darling. God didn't make Southern women out of sugar and spice and everything nice. He made us out of hurricanes, and we survived. And we survived from the prayers of our mamas. Welcome back to What Will Renee Say Today? Your dose of petrol, pearls, prayers, and perspective. Today, we're talking about something every Southern woman knows. We don't break, we bend. And that bend is where our strength is born. Let us drill into it. Learning to bend without breaking. The oil field will test you. It'll test your patience, your plans, your peace. But bending is not weakness, it is survival. The ability to stay flexible without losing your foundation is one of the greatest skills a Southern woman in Petro can have. Confidence plus adaptability equals power. Southern women were raised to be resilient. We turn heartbreak into boundaries, silence into prayers, and pressure into a polished product. Femininity is not a liability, it is a strategy. Our ability to bend is what keeps us unbroken. And let me tell you my story that tried to break me. I was sitting one day on the back porch of our beautiful home on the Vermilion River. We were living in our dream home. It was built in the early 1900s. It was filled with my grandmother's antiques, all of our artworks, so many treasures, and all kinds of memorabilia from our journey growing Helmer directional drilling and my children's journey coming through high school and college. And my husband came home one day and he said, I've spent all of our money trying to save Helmer directional drilling, and I don't know what to do next. And I couldn't believe my ears. I couldn't understand. I was completely blindsided. But the Holy Spirit came over me as a wife and a mother. And this was going to be the strongest challenge in my role as his wife and as a mother and as a woman. So I looked at him and I said, over my dead body, are you going to continue this journey alone? I'm going to go to work for you, or I'm going to go to work for somebody. And he said, okay, I guess you're going to come to work for me. And I said, okay, Monday morning, call your team together. We're going to have a sales meeting. And we're going to build a strategy. And we're going to build it together. So Monday, I went to Helmer Directional Drilling Shop. And we had a business meeting, and it lasted for 2.5 hours because I needed to understand a clear-cut pattern of what his team had been doing, what their roles were, and what their productivity was, or lack thereof. So I gathered that data. Then I went into the back for the next few days and learned about mud motors. Learned A, what they are, B, how do you break them down? How do you put them together? How do they bend? What is torque? What is high pressure? All these things. Then I spent the next week in the well planner's office, looking at seismic maps, looking at geology, understanding the different names of the different basins across from New Orleans to New Mexico. And with that, we developed a strategy, and we were going to remarket Helmer, and I was going to the Permian Basin. So I go to the Permian Basin and start gathering information there, interviewing and networking with a bunch of people. And I quickly learned that there are 128 directional drilling companies in the Permian Basin, and our offshore experience does not count in the Permian Basin experience. And we don't have a shop there, and we don't have tools there, and they're not going to pay for trucking to come back and forth from Louisiana. And I had a lot of challenges. So I said, okay, thank y'all. Thanks everyone for the heads up and thank you for that evaluation. But you're not going to stop me. So I continued to make phone calls. Do you know this person? I need a shop. Where can I keep my tools? How much is it going to keep my tools? Do we have a budget for this? How are you producing? How are you producing? What are you bringing to the table? What's the timetable? And we just started clicking along. Then I start delivering breakfast with some other salesmen that I'm networking with. And I quickly learned that the decisions for directional drilling are not made in the office. They are made at the hunting camp, at the fishing camp, on the golf course, and at the poker table. None of which I'm invited to. And even if I am invited to the hunting camp, I'm not going there, a married woman, alone. So with that, I had to figure out, how can I create an environment where that can produce critical conversations that build trust, conversations that build confidence in Helmer Directional's ability to get the job done. And I'm like, I don't hunt, I don't fish, I don't play golf. I'm not invited to the poker table. So what can I do? Well, you know what I can do? I can cook. And I am a fantastic Cajun cook. And I am a great hostess. So I created Miss Helmer's Whiskey Wednesday. And I networked with other salespeople and I invited other salespeople. But here's the catch. That salespeople can come to my Whiskey Wednesday two ways. One, you're going to foot the bill with me. Two, you're going to help me. And three, you better bring a ticket signing customer. Someone that can call out the work. And guess what? It worked. I developed a network. I developed a tribe of salespeople. And I started getting surface work. And then I started getting surface and intermediate work. And then I had 3 rigs. And then COVID hit. And we had to close Helmer Directional Drilling, our 67-year-old family business. And I asked my husband, what are we going to do next? And he was defeated. And he said, I don't know. And the Holy Spirit came over me again, thanks to my mama's prayers. And I said, well, I know. I am going to create a minority-owned company, and it's going to be a business development company, and I'm going to leverage our 67 years relationships with all these clients from New Orleans to New Mexico. And would you believe it worked? In the middle of COVID, I started a business development firm. I had a retainer, like a lawyer. I had a retainer, a commission, and I'm going to get a credit card because I can't have any money come out of my pocket. And the first group I teamed up with was a strategic asset monetizing company. And they had me go to service companies and knock on the door with the big signs that said no soliciting, me double mask and said, knock, knock, knock. Excuse me, do you see all these assets that you have overflowing out of your gates that are never going to be used again because the rig count's never going to go that high again before COVID? I want to buy them cash because we're selling them abroad. I saved 5 businesses in the Permian and 2 in Louisiana making those deals. But the best thing is that I was making enough money for us to remain in our home. And that was most important for me because my boys were just finishing up high school and I didn't want them to have to go through such a traumatic change during their high school years, especially because they were athletes. So then COVID, so that went along for a year and a half or so, and COVID evolved. We started drilling again. Directional found me. I put together a directional team. We drilled some wells. However, I was not making the finances that I needed to withstand all of this, to withstand all of our belongings. And Richard and I did come to the conclusion that we needed to sell our beautiful home. And I was so sad. And I got mad and I got angry. But I did not give up on my faith and I did not give up on my prayer life. However, my prayer life became coupled with a glass of wine. And then, as I was going through all of our treasures and having to put them up for sale, my prayer life became coupled with vodka. And the pain was still really tough because I didn't have an outlet. And I didn't have somebody to talk to that really understood what I was going through, or at least that's what I thought. So I started drinking even more heavily. But finally, I had a friend come to me, and she said, "Renee, can I pray with you?" And that was what I needed. I needed somebody to pray with me, not just me alone. And it was a beautiful, magical moment. And the Holy Spirit continued to fill my heart even greater and filled my vessel, which was so empty at that time. And He got us through the sale of our house and the sale of our many beautiful belongings. And we moved into a little small home in Lafayette, Louisiana. And we have already begun creating such beautiful memories. And business opportunities have come to me that are making us successful again, so much so that I resurrected Helmer Ops, the business development firm, and I have a client, and I've already brought MSAs to him in a matter of one trip to Midland, and I have other people wanting to talk to me so that I can represent them too. In the meantime, I'm brokering a land deal, and I never dreamed that I could have so much success. But the reason the success is so much sweeter right now is because I don't have that financial pressure on me. And so my heart is full because I can enjoy my success. And even though the journey did not end like I initially envisioned it, it ended even more beautiful than I could ever imagine. So just know that this Southern woman and all of you beautiful women out there, it doesn't matter when you have to start again. What matters is that you bend and you don't break. The pearl of wisdom for today's episode. Strength isn't proven by what breaks you. Strength is proven by what fails to. Choose peace. Choose purpose. Choose perspective. That is your true resilience. And another catchphrase I use with my family is that we're going to choose joy. Recently, I ran into a girlfriend and she said, "Oh, Renee, I love how you say choose joy." And I said, "Oh, thank you." She said, "Jesus over you." I said, "What?" She said, "Choose joy. For me, it means Jesus over you." I was always choosing joy because I wanted to see the positive in everything. But now I have a new dimension to choosing joy because Jesus is writing this book of your life, not you. So choose Jesus over you. The rumor roundup. Someone said, "Renee must be going through something. She's gotten quiet." Yes, I was going through something. It's called growth. And with growth comes growing pains. People mistake silence for weakness until your comeback is louder. The resilience report. Resilience isn't a movement, it's a practice. Some days you bend gracefully, some days you bend begrudgingly. But the truth remains, you didn't break, and that alone is holy. What did Renee say today? Renee said, "Stop trying to be unbreakable and be unshakable. Let life bend you. Let God strengthen you. And let your resilience speak for you." Thank you for listening to What Will Renee Say Today. And like always, let's keep rooting for one another. Thank you.